Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek at FIJ 2020. I'm sitting down with Rory O'Connor from Hub Games, and you've brought us a prototype of a game that's going to come out later this year.
May, yes.
In May, yep. So, Prisma Arena.
Yes. So Prisma Arena is kind of my love letter to arena games, and we're trying to reinvent them for a new generation by taking what we think works in arena games, but opening it out to a wider audience and making it really accessible and really playful for a younger and adult audience as well.
All right, well, take us through.
So we wanted to create a game that us kind of geeks could play as adults with each other, but also we could still play it with our children, and our children could actually play with each other as well. And the game has a kind of campaign element where you're going to level up. The idea behind the game is that you are young novices and you've been recruited to become guardians of the Seed of Hope. This is this giant creature that embodies the feeling of hope of the time, and you're trying to protect it from despair that currently walks the land. So it's got a very much a kind of dojo feel to it. You're training and you're leveling up and gaining new powers as you play. So the way the game is played is you control a hero and you fight in the arena with two Mokon. These are like cute creatures that embody different emotions.
Just gonna lay those down for a moment, so there we go.
So this is Farg, who represents anger. This is Grova, who represents affection. And we also have like jealousy and happiness as well. And they basically buff your hero in the arena. The way the game is played out is, I'll move this into camera here. So essentially each character has a stat card. So here's kind of two different kinds.
Yes, yeah, Grava the Affectionate.
Yes, and they all have very kind of similar like movement, 0 to 4 spaces. They have a force, which is when they blast or strike each other, they will do that number of hits. And they have a hit level, and that's how many hits they can take before they get bounced from the arena. So this is more like laser tag. So you're blasting each other. When you reach the hit level, they get temporarily bounced from the arena, and then your opponent scores a number of points equal to the hits they had on them at the time they get bounced. So the way we control activation, the objective of the game is to score 20 or more points. At the end of a round, the person with the most points wins the game. You're going to want to train hard because you're going to get training points that's going to help you gain powers later in the game. So the way you would activate a character, the dials all start on ready. No. And you would turn the dial to indicate what you want them to do.
What you're doing.
So we just move that in closer.
I'm just going to kind of hold that up, so we would say that here's my character, and I'm turning this to movement, and all color-coded to match. So now to get this out of the way, so now we can see said character moving.
So, for example, when you move, then you can move 1, 2, 3, 4, like including one diagonal space. Let me just cheat this a little bit and say I'm going to end up there. So if we put the dial back here, this is like the magic sauce of the game, right? So everything is perfect information, apart from these combo cards that players have. And these allow you to basically chain actions together to create more complex moves. And like, we want this to be really cartoonish and over the top. So I've moved into position and I'm going to play a Dazzling Blast. So I blast, deal a number of hits equal to my force, which we move the card here, which would be 3 hits. So I put 3 hits onto Sunna, but I can keep going as long as I can chain, so I can match the O to the O. So now I can leap, and I'm going to leap 2 to 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going...
If it has an X,
so I can keep chaining, and now I'm going to move 1, ignoring grappling, and then I get to strike with force -1, 2 against the other hero. But now I have no cards left in my hand, so I'm kind of exposed, and I have no tricks up my sleeve. So having the combo cards gives you this kind of advantage within the game of being able to bluff your opponent, what you're able to do. So we basically go backwards and forwards, activating each character in turn until all 6 have been activated. We reset, we draw new cards, and we keep playing. You will learn this game in 2 rounds. Like, I literally, when I demo this, I walk away after 2 rounds and leave the 2 to 4 players just playing away with each other.
And I imagine, too, that there's some variability here in how you set up where you put these little obstacles, and you could have like big mass in the center.
So you get to customize the arena. So as you play, the way the game starts is you choose your hero. So actually, this is an example of some of the starting heroes. And here, and you'll see they have no hair on them. That's because each hero...
This is what I saw from the corner of my eye. I was like, hello.
So each hero comes with a unique sticker sheet, which with hair and facial customizations, and also uniforms that they can only unlock by playing the game and leveling up their hero. So it's like, again, in martial arts, instead of gaining belts, you gain uniforms that you wear.
Yeah, so you have a couple examples of some characters here that have been upgraded.
So if we look at this character, we see this is one aspect, again, front and back.
Oh.
And again, we're trying to be inclusive, that the characters can be made to look more masculine, feminine, or non-binary as well. And this was from conversations with my daughters and their friends with that. Again, another example is this character. So this is one variant. This is my current hero. And I know that she's level 3 because of the uniform that she's wearing. Actually, sorry, she's Guardian. So she's reached the kind of pinnacle of her achievement. And what that means is, as you play, you track your progress, if that can be seen. Yeah.
Yes. Here we go.
So as you play, you score 2 points, you gain 2 training points every time you play. If you manage to reach over 20 points, you get an extra one. So it encourages you to train hard. And this actually came from a conversation with my daughter when I was explaining the idea to her. She said, oh, it's not like you're not trying to kill each other, you're trying to make each other better by fighting hard. And I was like, no one would normally think like that about a game. And I said, I'm going to bake that into every part of this game and bring that out. So the idea is by fighting hard against your opponent, they get better as well because they learn their tricks from you as well. So when you score a row, you take your sticker sheet, remove a sticker, and place it here to unlock a level. What that means, if I'm going to move this stuff for a second now, is Hope, who is kind of slumbering, begins to awaken. Let me get this out. I don't have the nails. Begins to awaken, sending energy through the arena. So now in later games, when you stop on this square, you start to gain Prisma powers that will become unique to your hero, and you get to keep them and customize the hero. So we start moving more into the tactical gameplay as you play the game. So you're learning, and we're layering in new choices and a new strategy the more you play the game. You can always revert back and play the kind of standard format, which we've played hundreds of games of, and it's tons of fun. This makes it more like TCG-esque, like where you're comboing powers and abilities together.
Now, what was the inspiration for picking sort of emotional as your archetype for some of these companions?
Well, I think you know me enough by now.
I do, that's why I'm asking you that question.
the way I kind of come at life. So we knew in this game we wanted kind of cute sidekicks to be with the characters, and when we thought what they could be, we thought, well, if they were emotions, one, it would give people an intuitive cue as to what the ability was of that creature you had with you. But also, I mean, the idea of the game is that part of it is the idea of learning to work with your emotions, and that they can bring you kind of bonuses and negatives if you don't know how to work with them effectively.
Particularly in the framework that hope is the thing you're trying to protect and despair is the thing that you're trying to maybe not eliminate, but dampen.
No, and that's you're trying to hold it off long enough for hope to awaken, because that's, again, when we were first thinking about the game, we were thinking of it being like, oh, the darkness is coming, and I thought that's been done so many times. And I thought, well, we're living in a time, for a lot of people, it's a time of despair. There's so much chaos, they don't know what's going to happen. And I thought, well, maybe we can actually communicate that in the game. So there isn't just despair. Despair gives way to hope, who in turn gives way to wonder, who in turn gives way to apathy, who in turn returns us back to despair. So the idea is to convey the notion that kind of life is like a cycle, and yes, we might be in the middle of despair, but other times will change, and we don't get to stay in any one time forever. So it's getting used to that cycle. So hopefully through the narrative that we unfold, we hint at it in the base game. Hopefully in the future we'll add more to that story, and probably through the Kickstarter it will kind of convey more of that idea to people.
And then that idea of betterment. in yourself as well, that from moving from one cycle to the other, there's still things you can do as a person.
Yes. So, and that's where we chose particular emotions like jealousy and anger, where people children in particular might tend to push them away.
But they happen.
Yes, and it's more to accept them and know how to work with them when they show up as well. So New Hawk, the jealous, has this great ability to like copy what your opponent does. You know, so that's how you turn jealousy to its so that's how you turn that kind of to its advantage. One other cool thing is just in between games, you get to store everything in your locker.
Your locker, of course.
So again, this is prototype material, but these are all the different hairstyles, facial expressions, the uniforms that I'm not currently wearing for my hero.
So these are more like color forms rather than stickers.
Yes, so they're removable stickers.
Vinyl, sorry, excuse me.
And we did a lot of research to make sure that these were like sturdy and removable at the same time. So I'm like a big child. When these first came in, and I was like, oh, I get to put them on.
No one outgrows like paper dolls or dress up. I mean, you think you do, but you don't.
The amount of people who kind of like, no, I wouldn't be into that. And then I look over, and it's a bit like Mega City, the way we get people to play with the building blocks. They're there, and they're putting their stickers onto their hero. And it's like,
gotcha! Would you like to play a character? Would you like to play that character now?
Yeah.
Well, if you guys, do you have a timetable for when you think this is going to come out?
So we're going to be launching the last 2 weeks of May. So it'll be running in conjunction with UK Games Expo as well. We're really excited. We're packing a ton into the box. We'll have maybe 1 or 2 kind of non-content stretch goals that will help flesh out the world. But really, we want to get people behind the idea, and for us to be able to do store play with it is a big part of it as well. We've great plans for stores with unique stickers that you can get by coming to your local game store as well.
Rory, once again, my brain is now leaking out with my ears at the end of an interview with you. This is an ongoing problem / compliment that we have when we're in an interview together. I tend to claim dibs when he's around because I love having interviews with you.
You get what we do as well.
Well, yeah, and when you and I have been now doing
we've
this
history.
11 years now since our first interview. So if you guys want to join us in the fun, this is Prisma Arena, which is going to be published later this year through Kickstarter. Yes, through Kickstarter for Hub Games. And Rory, thank you as always.
It's a pleasure.